Private, the entry rank, held through basic training and usually left behind within 6 months without the soldier doing anything in particular to earn the promotion. It is also where a soldier lands after a reduction in rank. The same empty sleeve can mean someone just arrived or that someone lost everything they had built. Private second class. Promotion arrives automatically after roughly 6 months, requiring only that the soldier has not been disciplined or separated. The rank carries no authority over anyone. Its function is to mark that a soldier has finished training and joined an operational unit, moving from someone being taught to someone being counted on. Private first class. The last rank reached primarily through time served, usually at about a year. A PFC is expected to do their job without supervision and to train whoever arrived after them. This is where soldiers stop being new. The unit begins treating them as a functioning member rather than as someone requiring constant instruction. Specialist, universally called the bird. A specialist is valued for technical competence in their job rather than for leading anyone, and holds no authority over other soldiers at all. Most soldiers who serve a single enlistment leave the Army at this rank, which makes the specialist the most common experienced soldier in the force and the one who actually knows how everything works. Corporal, the same pay as a specialist and a completely different job. A corporal is a non-commissioned officer, holding formal authority over other soldiers and accountable for their conduct and performance. The Army maintains both ranks at the same grade specifically, so it can distinguish between soldiers who lead and soldiers who do not. Corporal is the junior member of the NCO Corps and is treated as such. Sergeant, the first rank soldiers genuinely compete for, awarded by a promotion board rather than by time in service. A sergeant leads a team of roughly 4 soldiers and is directly responsible for their training, their discipline, their equipment, and their survival. Every account of the transition describes the same thing. It is the first point in a career where failure belongs to someone other than yourself. Staff Sergeant leads a squad of 8 to 10 soldiers, usually with 6 to 10 years of service behind them. A staff sergeant supervises sergeants rather than privates, which changes the work from teaching soldiers to developing leaders. This is the practical dividing line in an enlisted career. Promotion beyond it becomes genuinely competitive, and a large share of soldiers finish their service here. Sergeant First Class. Commonly the platoon sergeant, the senior enlisted soldier in a platoon of 30 to 40 people, and the advisor to a lieutenant who is frequently a decade younger with a fraction of the experience. The pairing is deliberate. The Army puts its least experienced officers alongside its most experienced sergeants, and the platoon functions or fails largely on whether the lieutenant listens. Master Sergeant, a senior technical expert who works on a staff rather than leading a unit, running operations, intelligence, logistics, or training at battalion level and above. They hold deep authority within their specialty and no command over troops. It is the path for soldiers whose value lies in what they know, rather than in how many people they can direct. First Sergeant, the same pay as a Master Sergeant and the hardest job in the enlisted ranks. A First Sergeant is the senior enlisted leader of an entire company, responsible for the discipline, welfare, training, and readiness of 100 to 200 soldiers. They are the counterpart to the company commander, and they are addressed as First Sergeant rather than by rank, because the position matters more than the grade. Sergeant Major serves in a senior staff role at brigade level and above, advising on enlisted matters, writing policy, and enforcing standards across a large organization. It is the highest enlisted grade in the Army. Fewer than 1% of the soldiers who enlist will ever reach it. Command Sergeant Major, the senior enlisted advisor to a commander at battalion level and above, and a position that carries far more weight than the staff version of the same grade. A Command Sergeant Major commands nobody. Their entire influence rests on a commander who chooses to listen to them, and the strength of that one relationship shapes the culture of the whole formation. Sergeant Major of the Army, a single position held by one soldier at a time. They advise the Army Chief of Staff directly and speak for every enlisted soldier in the service on pay, training, quality of life, and policy. The position was created in 1966. 16 soldiers have held it. Warrant Officer 1, The first rank in a separate technical track that runs alongside the enlisted and officer structures rather than between them. Warrant officers are specialists who chose depth over command. Helicopter pilots, intelligence systems, experts, cyber operators, maintenance authorities. Most come from the senior enlisted ranks, bringing a decade or more of hands-on experience with them into the role. Chief Warrant Officer 2 holds a commission signed by the President, the same instrument that commissions a general. A Chief Warrant Officer outranks every enlisted soldier and remains junior to every commissioned officer in the standard track. In Army aviation, most helicopter pilots are warrant officers rather than commissioned officers, which means the person flying the aircraft is usually not the person who outranks everyone aboard it. Chief Warrant Officer 3, a senior technical expert with typically 12 to 20 years of service, serving as the recognized authority on their system or specialty for an entire battalion or brigade. Commanders consult them directly. The rank exists because some roles require 2 decades of accumulated expertise that would simply be lost if the person were rotated through command assignments the way a regular officer is. Chief Warrant Officer 4, a master of their field advising at brigade and division level, frequently the single authority on a weapons system or technical discipline within a formation of thousands. At this point, a warrant officer has usually served longer than the colonel commanding the unit and remains formally junior to every one of that colonel's lieutenants. Chief Warrant Officer 5, the top of the warrant officer track, with typically more than 25 years inside one specialty. They advise at division level and above and shape doctrine for their entire branch. There are only a few hundred in the Army at any given time. Second Lieutenant, the first commissioned rank, earned through West Point, Officer Candidate School, or a university ROTC program. A second lieutenant commands a platoon of 30 to 40 soldiers, nearly all of whom have served longer than they have. The rank carries every joke in the Army for one reason. The officer holds legal authority over people who know the job considerably better than they do. First Lieutenant. Promotion arrives after about 18 months to 2 years and is close to automatic. A first lieutenant serves as a company executive officer, or leads a specialized platoon, with more independence and less supervision than before. It is the shortest stage in most officer careers and functions, mainly as evidence that nothing has gone badly wrong yet. Captain commands a company of 100 to 200 soldiers and holds full legal authority over them, including the power to impose punishment without a court-martial. This is the most junior rank with genuine independent command, and for a large number of officers, it is the last assignment where they lead soldiers directly rather than managing a staff. Major, the first field grade rank, and the point where the work becomes planning and coordination rather than command. A major serves as a battalion executive officer or runs a staff section. It is routinely described as the least satisfying rank in an officer career because the officer has left direct leadership behind and has not yet reached a level where they decide anything on their own authority. Lieutenant Colonel, command returns. A lieutenant colonel commands a battalion of 500 to 1,000 soldiers with the authority to shape how it trains and fights. Selection for battalion command is highly competitive, and many officers reach the rank without ever being chosen for it. Whether they are selected effectively determines how much further the career can go. Colonel commands a brigade of 3,000 to 5,000 soldiers, the largest formation an officer can reach through the normal promotion system. Everything above this rank requires nomination by the President and confirmation by the Senate. That makes Colonel the practical ceiling of a purely professional military career and the last rank that can be earned without a political process. Brigadier General, the first general officer rank. Reaching it requires presidential nomination and Senate confirmation, which means every general in the United States Army has been individually approved by the legislature. A brigadier general serves as a deputy division commander or leads a major staff directorate. The number of general officer positions is capped by federal law. Major general commands a division of 10 to 20,000 soldiers. For most of American history, this was the highest rank in existence outside of wartime, and higher grades were created only when the size of the force made larger formations necessary. Division command is widely regarded as the last position where a general is running a fighting formation rather than an institution. Lieutenant General commands a corps of 20 to 45,000 soldiers, or leads a major command or Army staff element. Officers at this level operate where military planning meets national policy, and a substantial share of the work is spent reporting to and negotiating with civilian officials rather than commanding troops. General, the highest rank in ordinary use, held by the Chief of Staff of the Army, by combatant commanders, and by the Chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff when an Army officer holds that post. The number of 4-star positions is fixed by law, so promotion requires a specific job to become vacant. No amount of merit alone can produce it. General of the Army. Created in December 1944 because American commanders were negotiating with British counterparts who held higher formal rank, which put them at a disadvantage in Allied councils. Only 5 Army officers have ever held it: Marshall, MacArthur, Eisenhower, Arnold, and Bradley. Bradley was promoted in 1950 and held the rank until his death in 1981. It has never been abolished. It has simply not been awarded since. General of the Armies. The highest rank the United States has ever created. John Pershing received it in 1919 and was the only living officer ever to hold it. Ulysses Grant was granted it retroactively by Congress in 2022. In 1976, Congress promoted George Washington to the rank posthumously and wrote into law that his seniority ranks above every officer of the United States Army, past, present, and future. Washington cannot be outranked by anyone, permanently by statute. Thanks for watching. What rank did you make? Drop it in the comments. Also, please remember to like and subscribe if you enjoyed.